Hey guys, welcome back to my channel. Today's video is going to be the finally fall book tag. I don't think I was tagged by anybody, but I've been seeing this tag go around and I really like the questions, so I thought I'd do it. I have all of the questions written down on a notepad I have in front of me, so I'm just going to get right into it. The first question is, in fall the air is crisp and clear. Name a book that has a vivid setting. And for this one I picked up The Road by Cormac McCarthy. I recently read this and I think this is probably the most vivid setting that I've read in a really long time. In very few words, he's able to capture this really depressing atmosphere, this bleak, cold, barren kind of land, and so this was definitely a book with a vivid setting. I think the writing style of this book is really deceptive because when you first read it, it sounds very simple, but even with all of that, you're able to really picture this world. So definitely The Road for me for vivid setting. The second question is, nature is beautiful but also dying. Name a book that is beautifully written but deals with a heavy topic like loss or grief. And for this one I picked Wild by Cheryl Strayed. This is a memoir that she wrote after her mother died. Basically, to deal with her grief, she decided she was going to hike the Pacific Crest Trail in California, and that's what the whole memoir is about. So I thought that this would be a great pick for this question because the whole book is just Cheryl coming to terms with her grief. I think it was a very powerful memoir. It is one of my favorite memoirs of all time, and I just really loved how raw and honest and self-aware Cheryl was in it. So definitely this one for that question. The next question is, fall is back to school season. Share a nonfiction book that taught you something new. I immediately thought of like 5 books, but I decided to go with a book that's actually on my shelves, and that is Killers of the Flower Moon by David Grann. This has been everywhere on BookTube. I've seen a lot of people pick it up and read it, and I think it's definitely worth the hype. A book that taught me quite a bit. It talks about a subject in history that you're not taught in schools, and I think it's a very important read, even though it's frustrating and heartbreaking to read a lot of the injustices that happened to the Osage Indians. I definitely think it's a book that everybody should read. The next question is, in order to keep warm, it's good to spend time with people you love. Name a fictional family or household that you love to be a part of. For this one, I think like a lot of people, I immediately thought about Harry Potter, but I scanned my shelves as I usually do when I do a book tag, and I saw this book and I was like, yeah, I would love to be a part of that group. And that is The Night Circus, the circus family or the circus group of friends that work at the circus, and I would love to be a part of that group. I would love to be a part of the circus and all of the magical elements it has and how it just comes up out of nowhere, and there's tents that lead to amazing places, and I just feel like it would be the type of place that every day there's something new and something more magical that shows up because, you know, the circus is being continuously worked on. But yeah, I would love to be a part of the circus group. Or would it be like the circus troupe? I hope that that counts because, I mean, I would love to be part of, you know, certain families in certain books, but I don't know, something about that circus just speaks to me, you know? The colorful leaves are piling up on the ground. Show us a pile of fall-covered spines. So these are my spines. When I think of fall, I think of brown, red, yellow, and orange. I don't have a lot of yellow spines, but this is the best that I could come up with. This book is The Well of Ascension. This is The Count of Monte Cristo. This is The Feast of the Goat, The Martian, House of the Spirits, Everything I Never Told You, and My Antonia is at the very top. And the reason I'm not taking these books out and showing you the covers is because I will probably drop this all over the floor and I'll be really upset. So yeah, so that's my spines. I'm kind of sad that I don't have any yellow because I think that yellow is such a fall color. And that like yellowish green color where the leaves are changing. I live in Florida, you guys, so there's no such thing as leaves changing down here. Our trees just turn brown. But I definitely am one of those that looks at a lot of pictures of fall and wishes that I lived somewhere else. And so yeah, that color that's like baby yellow and green because the leaves are changing, I love that color, but I don't have any spines like that, so this is what I could come up with. The next question is, fall is the perfect time to share a story by the fireside. Share a book wherein somebody is telling a story. I picked The Handmaid's Tale by Margaret Atwood because the narrator is an anonymous person. We don't know who she is. We just know that she's telling us her story, and it's absolutely horrific and just so interesting. This book completely surprised me in the best way possible. I thought it was just timeless. That's what this book is. The ending was just one that really made me pause and think about this narrator. You can't help but care about her and wish her well. Even though it's been like over a year since I read this book, I still remember her voice and the way she told the story. So yeah, this one for sure. The next one is The Nights Are Getting Darker. Share a dark, creepy read. And for this one, I picked Misery by Stephen King because this was so incredibly creepy in the best way. If you don't know what this book is about, it's about an author who has an accident and he's rescued by a nurse. Her name is Annie, and Annie is his biggest fan, and she pretty much holds him hostage and forces him to write a book that is part of the series that she's a fan of. And she has this weird obsession with these characters and this author. One of the best villains I've ever read is Annie. It's been so long that I've read a book like this where I was very disturbed with what I was reading, and Annie really disturbed me and made this book what it is. So that's the one that I'm going to pick for this question. The next question is, the days are getting colder. Name a short, heartwarming read that would warm up somebody's day. I think it's Cold Rainy Day, but anyway. This question really made me realize that I don't really read happy books, or if I do, I don't buy them and put them on my shelves because I had such a hard time picking a book. Not even a long book that I could think would be heartwarming other than Wives and Daughters by Elizabeth Gaskell, which I just read, but that one's like 700 pages, so not short at all. And then the other one that I had was Little Women, again, not short at all. So I really I went even downstairs to my other bookcase downstairs, and this is the only thing that I could think of, and that is The Little Prince. I've had this book on my shelves for like 8 years, and I read it, obviously. It's a children's classic, but this is the most short, heartwarming read that I could find on my shelf. I think that says a lot. I really had to dig for this one, but the best I could do. The next question is, fall returns every year. Name an old favorite that you'd like to return to soon. I have 2 picks for this one. The first one is The Count of Monte Cristo. I absolutely love this book. It's a really long read and definitely is going to take some commitment, and that's the only reason I haven't picked it up. This edition that I have here is actually an abridged version. I honestly bought this because it was really cheap on Barnes & Noble, and I love the spine. It had like a really ugly paper cover, but I took it off. I definitely want to get the original version because that's the one that I read, and I think it's the most epic tale of revenge ever, and I had such a blast reading it. And I think I'll still have a blast rereading it because there was just so much going on that I think a second read would probably remind me of a lot of things. And also it's almost like I'm reading everything for the first time because there was just so much to take in. So that one for sure. And then the other one that I have here is Anne of Green Gables, one of my favorite books of all time. And probably one of those books that when I read it as a child, it kind of changed my world a little bit because this was the first experience that I had as a child, as a young reader, where I really felt connected to a character. That was me with Anne, and so I definitely cannot wait to reread this one. It's been, I want to say, more than 15 years since I read this book, so definitely one I want to get to soon. And then the last question is, fall is the perfect time for cozy reading nights. Share your favorite cozy reading accessory. I really don't have a cozy reading accessory other than probably like a throw that I have on my couch that's downstairs. But honestly, because it's so hot here in Florida, I don't really bring that out or use that very often unless it's like really cold, which for us is about 2 weeks in December. But I do love a hot beverage, either coffee or hot chocolate when I'm reading and it's a little bit cold. I'll just read my book and then sip my coffee, and that's usually what I do when I'm gonna be settling in to read for a while. And then the last question is to tag other people, but honestly I feel like everybody that I'm subscribed to has done this tag or is about to do it. So I'll just say, if you are interested in doing this tag, consider yourself tagged. Thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you guys in my next video.